Hey guys, this is long overdue. My job has been so busy, so sorry. I actually really missed you guys. Now I know what YouTubers mean when they say that they miss their viewers. Like, oh, I miss you guys. I'm like, why? You're just talking to a camera and you don't interact. They're literally just watching you. But I think it's the community that we've built and then seeing your guys' comments. For example, thank you so much for all the support, congratulating me for graduating Caltech or getting into MIT Sloan, and then your interest in what I'm doing next. So I'll give you a quick update first. Graduated, obviously. I got into 2 top MBA programs through the early admissions process, I suppose. Now I am working in sunny LA, very, very hot LA, where I am a consultant. So interesting transition into the business world, but maybe more on that and why I decided to do that in another video. Let's go into the bulk of this video. Essentially, next weekend is my Caltech commencement, the real makeup commencement, even though we had a virtual watch party. My friend and I were fighting really hard to get real commencement back in June when we actually graduate, but the administration's point was like, oh, not that many people can make it, and we're based on the tradition that everyone's together for Caltech commencement. Basically, they also said that, oh, in the fall, students will come, and they just really thought that COVID will get better. The watch party was the compromise. Essentially, we just all sat in very close proximity to watch people say our names. They're like, oh, we need to be COVID safe and everything, right? So masks were required, only students were allowed, there's limited capacity. Our family members would have to wait outside to take pictures with us. But yeah, then they had champagne, which we made a toast to and drink while sitting like 1 inch from each other. Commencement is next week. Many of my friends are not coming. So there is that background and that commencement. Now I'm gonna go through what COVID has taught me or emphasized more so about Caltech, college, and life in general. The first thing I took to heart is that you have to work for your future life, but also live for your current one. This means that you can't just depend on the result, which for us was graduation and all those celebrations senior year. If you just work your butt off 4 years, or like say the 2 years and 2 terms that we had on campus, just like head down, not going into any events, thinking it'll pay off later. Senior year I'll have time, senior year I'll be celebrated, then you're kind of missing the point of the college experience and just life in general, because anything could happen at any point and you might not have the opportunity to do any of that anymore. Not only taking Caltech as an example because the school was really hard, right? If you're working so hard and never going to those inner house parties or exploring LA with your friends, then suddenly it being virtual really sucks. Overall in life, if you go through it just again head down, working hard, ignoring your loved ones, ignoring things you want to do for fun, in the end when you potentially have a ton of money, like what is that for? And then if something happens in the middle and you suddenly are incapable of doing those things you said were your future gratification, then what was all of that for? People say live in the moment all the time, but that doesn't only mean the fun, adventurous vacations or socialization. It's the everyday and really putting an active effort when you're working for your future to also living a good life, and in a way be prioritizing fun over work, because you might not get that fun later. The takeaway here is you just have to do it now. So I'm really thankful that anytime I had an event, no matter what it was, as long as like I had capacity to do it. Oh, I'm talking like a consultant now. Anytime I had an event, my first reaction was like, okay, I'll respond with yes, I'll go, let's make this work, or I'll initiate some event if I feel like I'm more free the weekend. And then I'll be like, okay, how can I make this happen? I'm gonna be able to go to this event, I'm gonna be able to explore LA. Inner house parties, the default answer was I'm gonna go because it's an inner house party, it's really fun. I'm thankful for that attitude right now, and extremely thankful for suddenly deciding I'm gonna make these vlogs. There's no way that I could have known there would be our last chance to experience what Caltech or even college life would be like. It's crazy to me to think that I had this in the back of my mind my first 2 years about how unique the experience was and how someone should document it. You just decide that you should be the one to do it, because I will never have the chance to do that again, experience it, let alone document it. Second thing is that in-person interactions matter so much. This was proven even more true with Caltech. As you see, like, the people is everyone's favorite part. Community is such an important aspect of why we're able to survive and why Caltech wasn't complete quote-unquote torture. The collaboration that Caltech emphasizes is huge. Like, when you're working together, even when it's 1 a.m., you feel a sense of camaraderie and that you're all on this ship together and working hard, and it's motivating. As much as you can say that the future is technology and digitalization, even if we can create those holographic avatars or stuff, like, you can't feel the warmth that you can from a person. It's just a lot easier to spontaneously make conversations and then ask for help. Furthermore, social cues are another important thing. Okay, so Caltech people, like, some of us are already socially awkward, okay? So we don't need Zoom to make it more difficult. Someone starts to speak and then someone else does, and like nothing gets done. And then when you have a conversation or someone asks a question to the class, it's just dead silence. The lack of in-person interactions means no in-person events. That time is replaced by extra time on social media, which is a very contradictory term, because you're not really being social with people, you're just being absorbed in other people's lives. And then that extra time being on electronics really dampens your productivity and focus. There are distractions around us already everywhere, and without having these set events and socializations in person, you can text when you're Zooming someone. You can respond to a messenger message when you're in lecture. That's really damaging and something that we should really take away from COVID, such that we take a step back and decide whether all this technology advancement is for the best or potentially for worse. Third thing, and this is more unique to Caltech, and is that opportunities are incredible. COVID takes a lot of that away. First of all, we can work in labs. We can work in Nobel Prize laureates' labs and gain that hands-on experience from freshman year. In all colleges, you have sports, and that's a huge part too, because a lot of my friends, like, were looking forward to their last year on the team, breaking records and stuff like that, but that's just not possible. Should have said this earlier, but I want to preface this by saying that, like, some of the things we're missing, sure, it might not be that big of a deal, especially considering that it's a pandemic, right? We should be more focused on keeping people safe and healthy, but this is just addressing the learning points that we can gain from what we missed. The other opportunity at Caltech is the access to professors. Now we have to really be formal about scheduling a meeting or ask professors about their views on a certain problem or getting career advice. Lastly, it's the career fairs. Even though they're mainly useful for CS, so CS people take advantage of those career fairs, conferences such as Grace Hopper, and basically just a lot of on-campus events when, like, Bloomberg or like Citadel or other companies come on. So last but not least, these are not in any particular order, COVID taught me that college is truly one of the best experiences that you'll have in your life. The access to people, your friends just around the corner in the dorms, is irreplaceable. The dorm life, even though it might be a little gross compared to your home at times, it's part of the experience. And partying, people being loud when you're trying to sleep is also part of the experience. Learning to deal with that and then growing by balancing your time between being this really studious student and being young, free, and like more wild while you can is really valuable too. Clubs are really cool since you literally go to some organized group where people's interests align with your own. College is awesome because the people there are like you. We're all doing the same things. We're all going through similar struggles. Whereas when you get into the workforce, people have more disparate lives. People are all at different age points generally. It's just harder to meet new people and make more friends. In college, especially at Caltech, because the houses are all mixed grade levels, there's just a lot of tight-knit community that comes with it. It's more motivating, and you know that people can relate to you. You know that the CS senior got through CS 38, and people understand pains you go through just to get through that midterm week. The Caltech bubble is real, but that is one of the greatest experiences for me personally from high school, where people were a lot different, and then combining people who all have a certain passion, and even though we're all unique, we all enjoy STEM, right? We have to. Being in that environment really helps you flourish, and college is kind of, I think my friend described it as a mini village everyone's just kind of taking care of each other and you're going through the same thing. There's a reason why you have school pride, right? College is also great because you have a routine. You time block your calendar again with those events, whereas when you're more free at home in the workforce, because that's virtual now too, doing things online makes it difficult for you to have any sort of routine. Even though you have Zoom, from like 10 to 11, you just log into Zoom, right? Like most people just log in, whatever, mute, and then turn off their video, and they can just be on their phone chatting with friends. There's just no set structure where you are sitting in the front row of lecture and then you have to listen to your professor. The distinction between campus and home is just so huge because campus, you associate it with those memories and work. Being on campus itself is really gratifying at times, even when you're just walking to class, hopefully not just like always too stressed to even think about going outside or being locked down in the basement working on mechie projects. But again, it's like that environment and the campus is really beautiful. Being at home, it was really awful to, I mentioned this in my previous video, but to associate it with the tough rigors of Caltech academics. That's where you associate spring break, winter break, when you're comfortable and safe from work. College is when you're young and not so easily tired, and you can take advantage of that by being in that kind of setting. I remember when I could literally average 6.5, 7 hours of sleep on some weeks, just because like I was so pumped for the next day when I knew there's an event that was gonna happen, or I was just running on adrenaline because no matter what, I have to complete the set. And even if it's difficult, like I know I'm gonna have to do it, so I have a game plan, I'm gonna go for it. At home, things were so much more jumbled. You don't have that structure, so even though I had a ton of things on my to-do list, they were smaller. I was more scatterbrained and just less driven every morning, since you're not leaving where you are and you're in the comfort of the environment at home. Wow, I think the lighting has changed a lot since I started this video, but overall, just want to say again, thank you so much for everyone who keeps watching my videos. I'm always surprised that, again, I just started the videos as a way to really present and help people better understand the unique aspects of Caltech. And I learned that through this YouTube channel, it goes back to point number one, right? You should just try new things in life. And now I realize I like making videos and talking with you guys in the sense of community through people who I've never met, who just comment questions and interact with me is really awesome. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Obligatory line I forgot to say in the beginning. Thanks, bye.